There is a wonderful convenience that is attached to being able to use our credit cards for payments to our vendors. QuickBooks makes it very, very easy for us to do. Now keep in mind when we use a credit card that QuickBooks actually considers this to be a liability on our balance sheet. If I open our balance sheet for a moment and go down to the bottom, you will notice that there is a credit card section. When we enter charges, they will accumulate in this particular area. Let's close out of our balance sheet and see how this works. When entering charges, I'm going to go to my home page, and on the bottom we'll see Enter Credit Card Charges. When I enter, the first thing that you'll notice is it lists our credit card. Of course, we can go to the pull down and find any one of the credit cards we have in the system. We can do our refunds and our purchases right in the same area. Now we can go in and one by one put each of the transactions on our credit card, fill in a reference, fill in our amount, and here is where we will expense the item to the appropriate expense account. Now something I'd like you to keep in mind. I can go in transaction by transaction and record my individual item. However, very often that can be very, very tedious. I often recommend to my clients to consider grouping together expenses for the ease of data entry. Let's say hypothetically we have a dozen or so different fuel transactions. Rather than putting them all in individually, we'll summarize them and put one transaction in for fuel for the month. Think through what's going to be the best procedure for you to use in your office. Now when I put the $15 in and I save and close, back on the balance sheet it will have increased by the amount of that transaction. My credit card charge has now gone up. When I'm ready to pay the bill, I will write a check as normal. In this particular case, I'll go into Write a Check. When I choose my client as the credit card, it will now clear the liability account from the balance sheet. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to pay QuickBooks and I'm going to pay them $150. The offset account that I will use against this check will not be an expense account. It will now be the actual credit card account that was storing all of the expenses during the course of the month. When I save and close, go back into my balance sheet again, once again go down towards the bottom to our credit cards, you'll notice that it shows that transaction is being paid. In this particular case, note that the negative number means that I have paid more than I owe.